How did you feel about food as a child?
Well, I know that as a infant, as a newborn, I was allergic to my formula. I wasn't breastfed. I was given a bottle. I was allergic to that, and um, was switched to, I think, something other than evaporated milk. I couldn't drink evaporated, maybe goat's milk or something. So I must have had some sort of food thing very early in my life. And then at 7, I was hospitalized because I was vomiting every day because of being afraid to go to school, or not wanting to go to school because people were stepping on my coat in school, so every day I would vomit. And my parents put me in the hospital because I was vomiting, but I was vomiting for a very simple reason. And once I verbalized the reason, I stopped vomiting. So I always had food games that I was playing as a child, hiding food around my plate and spitting it out and running to the bathroom and hiding it in my mouth. And I remember more the games with food than liking food.
When did you get anorexia and why?
I was a nun in a convent, and before I went in the convent, they said you'll have to gain a lot of weight in order to get into this convent. So I drank many, many milkshakes and gained a lot of weight, and I was pretty pudgy when I entered the convent. And then once I was in the convent, gained a lot more weight and enjoyed food quite tremendously while I was there. And then after being there for 2 years, I stopped eating the right proportions of food that I was supposed to eat every day. And I think it started as a diet between two of us. Both of us were going to go on diets, and it started that way. And I started liking the diet aspect, and I liked controlling my food intake, and I liked watching what I was eating and not eating and hiding it, and then we had to confess every day that we weren't eating, and I had to go in and confess I wasn't eating, but I was still not eating. And I started getting very, very thin, and I started getting very, very active, filled with energy, and they kept putting me on outside duty, and I would run with lawnmowers over the hills, and because I was so energetic, because everything was being eaten up, and we had teeny little mirrors. We only had little teeny mirrors to look at ourselves in these lockers, and I remember one time opening my locker and standing on a chair so I could see more of myself than just my face, and I remember seeing a lot of bones, and I realized I was getting very thin. And I was down to 82 pounds, and went in finally to the novice mistress and said that I think that something's going on with my food and me. And she said, yes, we've been worried about you. And then I said, well, will I be voted out of this convent if when the vote time comes around, will you vote me out? And they said, well, most likely, because of your attitude and this food thing, you'll probably be voted out. And I said, well, then I quit. And I called my uncle and then my parents, and a few days later they came and picked me up. And my mother brought 5 or 6 different size dresses, and I remember going down the stairs in this white dress and these teeny arms and little Minnie Mouse feet and no hair and a white scarf over my head, and my parents took me out to dinner and I ate a whole lobster.
How do you feel about food now?
Well, it took me many years to switch back from all of that activity, and for years I couldn't go in restaurants because I'd have to eat in front of people, and my most uncomfortable times were at dinner tables or when I had to sit down and eat in front of people, or I was sort of a secret eater. I was really good if I could run in a corner and eat in a corner or eat looking out of a window or eat standing. It was much more comfortable for me for many years. And I would separate myself off from people around meal times so that I could take care of that. And so only recently have I begun to feel more comfortable with food. But I mean, friends would have to, I'd sometimes get under the table in a restaurant. It would be so uncomfortable. And I mean, it's sort of half joking, but or just have to sit really close to someone because I'd be just frightened, sort of almost frightened of the food coming, and they put it down, and then you have to eat it, and you have to say something, and you'd be in this social situation, but it's getting much better, and I'm getting much more comfortable and not fixating as heavily on food.
Did you have eating binges and then vomiting?
No, I just really curtailed how much I ate, and then I would exercise a lot. I would work everything off in as much as I could, and when I was small, I vomited when I was 7, but not when I was 22 and had anorexia, or when I had a food problem. I'm not even sure it was anorexia. It was it stopped. I stopped being 82 pounds once I left the convent. So it was a short term, maybe 6, 7, 10 months, a year or something.
Did you feel you didn't deserve to eat?
I probably that, but I felt more that I liked more the challenge of making myself do something and controlling my body and controlling my food intake and being high. I was so energetic and so alert and alive, and I had so much energy, and I was running around, and it seemed like somebody was pushing me from the back. I had so much, jive. It was just a great energetic feeling, and I liked that feeling a lot. The other, when I was weightier and when I was not 82 pounds, I just felt too lethargic. So I think I was more addicted not to, I was very addicted to the feeling of energy, of the kind of energy that was happening with not eating.
What was your diet like?
Well, it was the food that was served to us as nuns, meat, potatoes, vegetables, all cooked. And when we ate in silence every day for 3 meals a day. And while we were eating, they read stories of saints and martyrs. So in a sense, it wasn't the most comfortable eating situation. I mean, we were all sitting across from each other, eight at a table with a novice mistress at one end, and 50 people, no more than that, 100 or so people in a room, and then someone sitting at a lectern reading about saints, martyrs, missionaries. It wasn't, it wasn't your comfortable, eating situation. And I've forgotten the question, but that's
what your diet was like.
Oh, my diet. So it was all institutional food, and in a sense, in the beginning, all I looked forward to were meals, because the nuns' existence is very, very everyday repetition of patterns. There's not too much change. You get up at 5:30. You meditate, eat breakfast, work, pray. A lot of ritual, and the ritual was wonderful. There was much that was tremendous and wonderful about being there. But sometimes wanting food became obsessive, and then turning the other direction, not wanting food, became as obsessive. But I didn't have any strange dietary things happening except just denial. I didn't eat just cucumbers, or I didn't eat diet soda because those weren't available. I ate the nuns' food, but I didn't eat it. I would take small portions and I would kind of spread it around my plate and not eat.
How do you think anorexia or food obsession could be prevented?
Talking. I mean, I think that my basic problem was being nonverbal, and I had no way to. I didn't know what I was feeling, for one thing, and then I had no way to verbalize what I was feeling, so that my body started to talk for me, because no words were coming out of my mouth. My body said, "Okay, some messages are coming through," and the message was. Something's going on, and it's pretty strange. And how do you know? So my body literally forced me to think about and to verbalize what was going on in my life. So I think talking about things is an incredible gift, and if that can be done, if people have access to people who they can talk with, then that's one prevention. I guess that's all I can think about in terms of prevention.